Ali, 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 yeah. I praise Allah for these lessons of striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons of striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons of striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons of striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7.
Islam, 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 Moorish America. Want to rise upon the 7 within the circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to His holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything, and I do mean everything, that our prophet and ancestors brought to make us a nation. I want to welcome you to another late night library session. I'm your host instructor, Dr. Shahid Imani Mohadi Shabazz El, and my ancient Comedian high name being the same as Dr. Shedawah Minty El Mohajjed Shepsewell. And I come forth before you with yet another grand drawing family, and most definitely I encourage you to tune in, if you haven't, if this is your first time, tune in with us, and also like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you share this particular video so it can reach other people who need to hear this in special measure. Got a grand drawing that we're going to bring on the manifest tonight. We will be coming from the Book of Fire, the Exhuming of a Nation, authored by none other than our Grand National Chairman, Dr. Akhenaten Pert M. Heru Tutankhamun Bey. We have a powerful measure to bring forth to our family from our father's treasures. So give me a second here. I'm going to pull up the Book of Fire and we'll proceed from there. Be sure to share this video, family. Right, family. All right, we ready. So without further ado and delay, we'll start from here, and we actually, will be in this demonstration, in a shorter period of time than normal, so that our family can digest what it is that we bring to them and be able to get what they need, and we can always bring more content to them. So, you know, um, we're gonna try to keep this within the realms of moderation, so to speak. So, I want to start from our book of fire, and again, our subject title is dealing with the exact measure that's being brought forth in the book of fire, and this is dealing with a peek into mental slavery. We've been talking about status and jurisdiction, black according to science, and what it represents. And so now we're going to go into, a peek into mental slavery. So let me get over here and I'll proceed. A peek into mental slavery. A peek into what Noble Drew Ali describes as the mental slavery that you have now, right? Is to take a brief glance into the acceptance of the fact traumas are the deep roots of any nation's tree of slavery. That's a powerful statement. Notice he said traumas are the deep roots of any nation's tree of slavery. We know that roots often feed, the strongest part of a tree, and everything that comes up from the root is what sustains the branches. And this would be the same when we deal with any nation that has a tree of slavery. It can only feed from the ethers of the native plane in which it has been planted. And this has to do with us as a people. If we have been planted in an environment, so to speak, that has to do with empowerment, then that is the fruit that we would produce, coming forth from the very sap, of our essence, so to speak. However, if you were to plant us in an environment, where we are in a arena, so to speak, where the soil is saturated with slave making, slave breaking, slave holding, then this too we would be a product of. So it is truly a fact that we are a product of our environment, but just because you take a particular tree and place it in a particular environment doesn't mean that it has to be defined by that environment. It just says that if those soils are contaminated, with certain measures, you can expect it to come forth. Just like if you had a situation with radiation, poison, and if it hit the soil, everything that come forth from that soil is pretty much not good or unsafe to digest. You see, so we have to take that into account when we look at that statement that was being made by the chairman here. But let me go on. It says, especially the chattel enslavement of the Moors from northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Without centuries of relentless traumatic conditioning of the psyche of each generation, slavery in the United States of America would have not been as successful as the infamous death blow of Hiram Abiff. You hear that? Without centuries of relentless traumatic conditioning to the psyche of each generation, slavery in the United States of America would not have been as successful as the infamous death blow of Hiram Abiff. Meaning this is telling you that they've been working at this for a long time to embed it in our consciousness to the extent to where it becomes self-refueling. They don't even have to add fuel to the fire anymore. Anyway, it says mental slavery is basically defined as mental conditioning. When a man's psyche has been altered an island to that of a slave, contrary to popular belief, the 13th Amendment did not free African descendants from lawful slavery in the United States. We already see because we understand what property is. We already see because we understand what our condition is. And we understand that this condition of freedom had to do with unless, there's a committing of a crime, so to speak. And the crime is just simply being who you are. By being born under such a system, you have committed a crime, whether you know it or not. This ain't just talk, this is what it is. So many of us that think that we've been suffering because of the physical and the exterior of the skin, that's just the half of it. It really has to do with your status and jurisdiction, assumable jurisdiction, that is, and thereby becoming property. And when you are criminalized, this automatically allows you to become stateless. We already showed this to you by their own definition. So it says amendments or modifications or changes to existing laws. We haven't seen any amendment being demonstrated in regards to dealing with this law. It's still the same to this very day. Usually for the better, right? Amendments would be. These improvements are written forms of abolishments, additions, or otherwise corrections designed to remove defects or faults from established forms of law. In other words, they don't see you being enslaved as a form of law, or you couldn't be considered a slave until the 13th Amendment for committing a crime. So they feel like that's just right. That's exactly what the doctor orders, so to speak. In the case of the 13th Amendment, it was designed to abolish the laws of the institution of slavery. So if the 13th Amendment was designed to abolish the institution of slavery, then why would it go on to say, except that you commit a crime? To abolish means to deal away with it altogether, right? So anyway, it was designed to abolish the laws of the institution of slavery, originally written in the United States Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, and Clause 3. Here, it must be understood, especially by the descendants of ex-slaves, the full extent of congressional power was confined to the abolishment of its slave laws from the United States Constitution. Although the Europeans used force to create genocidal crimes of the African slave trade, the U.S. laws to cover up the international offense, they have never possessed the power to actually free the people they enslaved. So you can never be free if they possess the power to where they can't free you. In other words, they can physically enslave you, but they don't have the power, now to make you think after so much has been put into you of making you think that you couldn't think or you better not think. So now many of our people fear thinking free thoughts. So it's up to you now to start thinking again. And ignorance of the law is no excuse. Proclaiming ignorance of the law, that ain't gonna stop them from doing what they're gonna do. They're gonna keep doing what they do in this business as usual. So while this congressional 13th Amendment clearly marked the first step towards physical manumission, it did not disturb one link from the fetters of the psychological bondage that lie welded to the minds of ex-slaves. So all the trauma that we had been under mentally and psychologically, physical manumission didn't have no effect on that. The key is free the mind, in the behind will follow, and not the other way around. There's a reason why that statement is made in that order. Free the mind, in the behind will follow. You see? So you have to become a conscious leader, to lead on the way that victory may be made assured by your own whim of demonstrating self-determination. Mental slavery is the worst remnant of U.S. slavery suffered by so-called Negroes, black and colored people. NBC. We already know what mental slavery is. All you got to do is look at it in the form of shackles on your brain. Master ain't there, but he's ever present due to your fears as it relates to false evidence appearing real. Somebody told you you committed a crime and you ain't did nothing. Somebody told you was a criminal and you ain't broke no law. The only law you broke was being you. And it's so much now accepted to where you think that's normal too, for somebody to go in opposition and hate you for being you. And you don't even supposed to stand in defense. You just supposed to accept it and keep it moving. And this is what led to one saying, oh, we got them. We can do anything to this people and they're going to accept it laying down. They ain't going to do nothing. They might talk a little bit, man. They might run their mouth, but they ain't really about no true liberation. We ain't got to worry about them. We got bigger fish to fry. That's how they think about our people. You know, I just seen a situation earlier. I was looking at where a brother, had an issue where he was trying to go to his job. European woman basically, didn't want to let him in the building because he came early. This happened in Mississippi. And basically what ended up happening, she called the police on the brother. And the police came to them because he was upset. And he was just recording the moment for social media to see. And said, she want to ask you that you leave because you're like this. In other words, he was kind of upset. He wasn't cussing nobody out. He was just really trying to record it. But by her doing that right there, that was an act of showing that she has power over him. That was a mind game to let him know, stay in your place because I'll call him on you. Now that could have went left to what harm could have been brought to the brother, anything, but they know of the power that they had. And those who watch this is to show them too, as well, that they got the upper hand. Hate it or love it. And the reason why this can be done to you is because you put yourself at the mercy of someone instead of being willing to do what it is that you need to do for yourself in order to break away from that type of treatment. Time and time again, family, you have those, under, that present system of your oppression that wants to let you know you still a slave. You still their property. They still own you. And all we can do is go back and forth and talk about it, but don't nobody want to do nothing about it. We have those who run around here hollering black power and all this old other stuff, right? But they don't really seek power to define their own reality, like the brother Bobby Seale said. You got people running around here proclaiming a whole bunch of things, but yet and still they have fear and breaking away from a system that's had its foot on their neck for so long. You see, and it's sickening to have all these so-called intellectuals, these so-called revolutionaries, these so-called free thinkers, but yet they don't have a free thought in their mind that's in them that would tell them it's time to separate from the nonsense. In fact, they end up going against you, talking all that war talk, but when you tell them, well, all right, let's break away, let's go build for self. Oh, no, I don't think we can do that. Man, them people gonna do that, all this and that there. I don't care about none of that. Y'all always hear me say it all the time. So what you talking for if you ain't trying to build nothing? What you trying to stir our people up if you ain't really willing to move on the knowledge you say? And when I say move on the knowledge, I ain't talking about physically doing nothing to nobody. I'm talking about simply picking up, your own tools, not bogus building material, and building your own nation. Ain't nothing in law that say you break the law for demonstrating like that. But yet some of our people, again, they fear that because they are, in essence, they won't tell you, but they are still dependent. They have that welfare recipient-like mentality when it comes to being dependent upon massa. Yeah, they do. They can talk and say whatever they want to, but your actions speak louder than your words. If you saying that you about all that and you about doing whatever you do and you have not the strength in you to want to demonstrate as successionists, and build your own nation with all the information you done came across, and you still trying to patch up the old wounds that have been inflicted upon you under a system of oppression for over 400 to 500 some odd years. You still talking about, well, maybe we got to do it this way. You want to vote your way. You can't vote your way up out of this situation. And it don't matter how many of our people you put in there that look like us. At the end of the day, their only interest is political and politics of Rome. And that ain't got nothing to do with us building on our own. So anyway, mental slavery is the worst remnant of U.S. slavery suffered by so-called Negroes, blacks, and colored people, NBC. Also, when we talking like we talking, we ain't talking like this because we hate nobody. We just saying what we need to do for ourselves, because ain't nobody else going to do it for us. You understand? Because some people get it twisted and go to looking at, oh, he talking that, oh, hey. No, we talking about do for self. And you can't be no more offended by my tone than you are suffering with somebody else's foot on your neck. So anyway, yet because it is intangible and stealthy in its effects, mental slavery has gone largely unnoticed and unbridled since 1865. Noble Drew Ali said, I have come to save you from the mental slavery that you now have. The functional constitution of the human mystery system rests upon the availability of information previously learned. It is the storage capacity of the mind where acquired knowledges, be they good or bad, are retained. A mental file cabinet with unlimited abilities to reserve the learned. Its sole function is to record, retain, or what's most commonly known as remember. Learning is basically the acquisition of information, and one's memory is where that information is stored. Period. You couldn't forget you if you wanted to. Unbeknownst to many of our people, a lot of the reason why our people suffer is from a lack of the truth. There's plenty of knowledge out here. Another reason why we, are going through these pain freak situations is because most of our people know where they come from. They know that we come from a high and advanced civilization, kings and queens and gods and goddesses, but somebody else got their foot on your neck and they came out of a less developed civilization and they have mastered you and become masters over you. You see, and the greatest form of the mastery is being able to deposit within your thinking. Each and every one of our people have their own individual slave maker, slave breaker, slave holder, slave catcher, and therefore a slave master that is ruling from their own consciousness. And they don't even realize, some of them, that they're being used as a tool to enslave themselves, to imprison themselves, to turn on themselves, to destroy themselves. You see? Watch what it says. It says, but by divine design, the mind of man is incapable of forgetting. You know who you are. You know who made you. You know what your former glory was. It has no file, 13, no thought shredder, and no thought disposal unit attached. Your consciousness don't have that, family. And that's why the trauma is real, because you can't forget what was done to us. Even if you try to look over, they try to, erase it from your consciousness and hide it from you. How do you think it is that we have been uncovering so much now? Because you can't hide it. It's there. It's in the records of history, the annals of history that has been recorded in the very universe itself. The universe is a record. Everything has been recorded within the annals of time and transition. So it says, in short, it has record or rewind and play, but it cannot erase or delete thoughts once learned. What man calls forget or forgetfulness, forgotten, etc., has merely been stored in an uninterested file department by what it says, but not a word is ever lost. Some thoughts are pushed so far beneath the ready recall section, it's referred to as the subconscious, but it can still recall. It may need assistance like hypnosis meditation or just plain concentration, but whatever is there can be brought to surface. And these are the real demons that hunt our people. Everything that we have been taught to push to the back of our consciousness, the way that we have been treated, all of this causes the trauma all the way down to the cellular level, family. And when you get into cymatic frequency, this is the greatest way to take people off the count. Your oppressor has mastered the ability of making you implode within and turning your hatred and your denial on you to where it destroys you at the cellular level. And you wonder why that we come up with so many different ailments and it's reoccurring. It's because it has now been infiltrated into our very DNA. It's in the makeup. We reproduce this pain that we suppress. We reproduce the denial and the abuse and mistreatment that every other nation has cared to bestow upon us. We want to just look past it and look over it. Turn your head. And it's so deep embedded now in our people to where they turn their head physically. Most of our people don't aid and assist in each other. It can be their own family. And harm can be brought to them and they'll stand right there and watch it. Some of them even record it. Hey, man, stop doing that, but I ain't got the courage, to make somebody stop doing it. But anyway, it says the truth is there's certain information the Negro, black, and color is not designed to acquire. And if by chance they do, they will reject it due to standardized programming of misunderstanding. You know about the miseducation of the Negro, right? By Carter G. Woodson, right? So when it comes to dealing with certain aspects of truth, that people don't want to accept because it puts them in a position where they now have to move based upon what they have received. They want you to stop. Just stop talking like that. Don't make me feel uncomfortable because I don't want to get up and do what I'm supposed to do. That's basically what it is. You making me feel guilty for not taking my part in aiding and assisting, uplifting, fallen humanity. So I'm going to rebuke you. I'm going to rebel against you. I'm going to do everything I can to suppress what it is that you bring. And that's the mindset, of those that are fearful. So know it when you recognize it, especially if given by their own blood. They have been taught to repel what is rightfully their own. See? It says the mind with its active functions of willing, reasoning, understanding, thinking, and remembrance never sleeps and needs exercise of thought development from whence to go. So if you're not willing for you, then who's willing are you doing? Whose bidding of the will are you demonstrating? If you's not reasoning for yourself, then who is doing the reasoning for you? If you don't have your own understanding, then whose understanding are you working from? If you're not thinking for yourself, then who's thinking for you? If you don't have remembrance, then who took that remembrance from you? Who's stopping you from remembering? What mindset or thought pattern is becoming an obstruction and blocking you from being able to see what it is that is good and best for you and making you think that is bad for you? Ask yourself that question and be honest. It says most people would be able to save themselves if they were only to think. That's what Prophet Noble Drew Ali said. If I could only get you to thinking, you would save yourselves. He didn't say, if I could only get you to thinking, then I would save you. He said, if I could only get you to thinking, then you will save yourselves. So in the case of the Moors of America during their Holocaust of slavery, their babies were forbidden to learn. We already showed this to y'all in the Code Noir. Be educated or interpret dreams of the past. They had no history of themselves to remember because it was not to be taught. There was no memory of self-worth, accomplishment, esteem to recall. In the post years of these traumas, the once proud African nationals and their consciousness of freedom, like a deceased head of state, was laid comatose in a shallow grave for the world to see. Where one loses their memory of freedom is where self-enslavement becomes the norm. Hence, the NBC was designed without a center for freedom. They have never known freedom and can never attain freedom. The psychic of this human property made it easy to teach the black skin game, and they recall it to this very day at the cusp of the 2000, the century of 2000. Their minds' functions were limited to their slave masters' plans and plantations. So they still had that plantation thought pattern, even though the plantation is supposed to be long gone, right? Is there any wonder how America became the world leader in just a score of decades, with a great percentage of its population whose minds were only attentive to its growth and development? So you see, it was not just on the backs of the Moors that our country was built. It was on their minds. Today, there's still talk about the inferior minds of the ex-slaves when compared to the Europeans, but the remembrance is based upon what has been learned and the superiority of its education. One can only receive from the pot what is in the pot. This is very important because we know if you were to take a fish and put it, in different tanks, those fish will only grow based upon the tanks, if they can deal with different degrees of growth and unfoldment. They would only grow according to how expansive that tank is that you place them in. And the bigger the tank, the more they expand until they reach their limitation, that is. Now imagine you being placed in an environment and that's all you know. If all you know is having a master from outside of you direct and dictate to you, then you have no knowledge of how to become a ruler or demonstrate self-determination or self-rule yourself, because you have always been dependent upon someone else to do for you what you believe that you can't do for yourself. So think outside the tank. We know people talk about think tanks, but think outside of the tank. Like the chairman said, what one can only receive from the pot what is in the pot. And the only way out of the fire is through the fire too. But it says, actually, to the European heads of the Western world, it makes very little difference how much so-called progress that blacks make. It can be as a minute as individual consciousness to claims of an indigenous nation of black people, or from a local religious civic group to a national, international, political, and economic power structure. As long as they identify with black, Negro, etc., or etc., they not only admit being property of the United States of America, but also give them jurisdiction over themselves and their prosperity. Remember, he said, the popular scripture they like to quote, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And we corrected that saying, no, it's a lack of the truth. But we say this because there's plenty of knowledge, but we fail to refer to the portion that come behind that quotation of scripture when it says, since you have rejected knowledge, then I will reject you and your seed after you. I always love to emphasize this to show you how we sentence our future to a hellacious condition due to our stubbornness and rebellion against knowing who we are. Because you got to be what you know once you know what you know. You see, and some of our people don't want to be what they know, so they don't want to know what they're supposed to know. Ignorance is bliss. Or did I say iblis? An idle mind is the devil's playground. You see, and somebody been playing on your ground the whole while. So this makes them vulnerable and subject to European control and disposal at will. A prime example of this is there's an overwhelming number of black businessmen, professionals, and entrepreneurs who have been destroyed at their peak when thrown before the courts and legal gauntlet of the United States. Many of them. Look at the brother, what's the good brother name that established the bank? Oh man, it done slip of mine. I talk about the brother all the time. Jesse Binger. Look at how he was done. Go look at his history. He was a student of the prophet and was called one of the so-called quote unquote first black bankers. And see what happened to him. You see? So it's the same thing when we deal with so-called black celebrities, so-called black judges, so-called black presidents, so-called black mayors, so-called black whatever you want to call it. What have they done individually that has served the collective to liberate the collective? All we have is a claim to fame of saying he was the first black person to do this. She was the first black person to do that. But yet and still, we still in the same egg crate, thinking we don't win somewhere because we move from one slot to another. And you do know that that egg crate has an infinite cycle if you were to go from slot to slot and keep moving in it, right? Till somebody come along and they burn the egg crate up. You see? But anyway, it says, many swept under the penal rug are still in wonder as to what happened and how could they do this to me after all I have done for them. In most cases, their last few $100,000 are absorbed in friendly attorney prosecutor fees in exchange for promises of a lesser sentence. Y'all seen this with many of our so-called celebrities. They're doing it right now to a couple of them. Done did it to a couple of them. Some of them done came home with nothing for daring to try to stand up against Rome under that moniker black. How somebody property gonna stand up to them and tell them what they gonna do? It says they are so baffled, and most will suffer from what is called the Book of Job syndrome. It never occurred to these good men that the states of black is a European drug, which has been legally injected into their psyche. Their certification of his or her birth, being powerless, a failure, a convict, or other forms of broken men are standard reactions from this dope. There's always been greatness among the Moorish men and women in America, some more renowned than others. Yet each has contributed their part into the divine by blueprint by sustaining and preparing people destined to be a nation. For them known and unknown are due eternal honors. That's the only thing that we can take from those who have become great, is to be able to bear witness to the evidence that there is a great God, despite all of the hellacious conditions that we may have found ourselves under or even in presently, that they cannot stomp out what is in you. They can't take it from you. They can't extract it from you unless you believe that your oppressor's power extend beyond that of the great God that is within you. Long after we're gone, those who will come around as long as the earth is still spinning on its axis, it would always be those who are great that will inspire our people. But look at how that greatness has been exploited and used against us. And they isolate our people from the greatness that is in our people, by making those of greatness believe that they are cut above. And many of them end up forgetting where they come from until it come to a time that they don't need them no more. Thank you. But your services are no longer needed. And then you want to come back home. It says only a true prophet raised from amongst his nation of people can bring the complete salvation necessary to free the souls, minds, and bodies of the oppressed. The worst form of oppression by far is mental slavery. Yet it has been legally existing in the United States since 1865. Actually, this psychological evil is so devastating to all persons born into it since 1886, pardon self, they still don't know they are slaves. They believe they are free U.S. citizens while suffering the blatant manifest of political, social, and religious rejections. And if you tell them why they're going through this, they are in denial. If you tell them this is because their status, is that of property, they are in denial, even though they know you to be telling them the truth. They know that they somebody else's pushover. They know that they somebody else's yes man. The mind of the Negro fools him to believe he is as all other nationals. It lives in perpetual state of nationhood denial because there is no government, flag, history, or nation to proclaim as his own. It is in the nature of the mind to become what it thinks. As a man thinketh, so is he, right? Hence the ex-slaves, not knowing who they are, become a national phenomenon of persons thinking they are what the sovereign states of the United States or USA certified them to be at birth. Yet the truth lay bare. The highest attainment of a black man is to be a black man. Shortly after birth, all NBC are certified as property into a life of perpetual slavery. Mental slavery is an organized retardation to the minds of a people, an evil conglomerate of tricks oppressed upon one by people and by others. The principles of mind incarceration are deceit and hypocrisy. Its foundation of usurpation strongly supports powerful institutions of Maya designed to appear as right, but are demons in disguise. The victims and associates of mental slavery are easily recognizable. They are anyone or entity proclaiming or promoting blackness, African American, colored, or Negro as ethnic identities. They are part of the problem of mental slavery. Often these victims are selected to be the heroes or heroines and leaders of the very people who are victimized. With man-made minds, they lead their frenzied followers onto a European-designed chessboard. That's that tesselated board, right? Of Western Freemasonry, ain't it? Chessboard abyss of colored complaints, Negro problems, black consciousness, and a worthless array of African American progress. Never winning, but always playing the game, credited to destructive ends of a people. Truth is, the NBCs of today are self-enslaved by merely adhering to the names and principles of being Negroes, blacks, and African Americans. In short, They carry their chains, shackles, and mental prisons within the very names forced upon them by their former slave masters. Yet none of these labels are free national names and have no saving powers. For these reasons, there are several areas in this book that further define the imprisonment and liberation of the mind. So we ain't talking about no European that's holding you in slavery right now. We talking about you, your own self. That's the slave master that you need to overthrow. That slave-like thinking. You see, that's the slave catcher, slave maker, slave breaker, slave holder that you need to overthrow. Right there in the seat of your consciousness. You can't even blame the European for how you're acting right now. You choose not to be free. It says, surely until one's mind is free, there can be no true freedom. So let's go to this other small portion, and we're going to bring this in measure to a closure. We'll open up the floor first so we can hear from our family. Like I said, I want to start shortening these measures up, and just keep bringing them, in increments or whatever. That way our family can digest what it is we bring into it. So anyway, any books, biblical mentions, any books, including the books of the Bible, are revelations and ideas reflecting through their authors. All publications once in public or private domains are subject to the reader's interpretation. The Bible, being a collection of many books, is by far the most read publication in the history of the world. Naturally, it is the most widely interpreted and scrutinized of all books. Some people love the Bible for the benevolence it has been to them. It is not so beloved by others who have suffered under the Bible's misuse. In this biography, the Bible is mentioned or referred to on numerous occasions, especially in European religious-related issues, e.g., the slave trade, Christianity, Freemasonry, etc. However, nowhere herein are there evil motives, racial, or any hateful intent against the Bible, church, or organized Western entity. So those who are looking that may be Christians listening in and thinking that ones are attacking the Bible, nope. We are attacking our people who have become slaves of somebody else's interpretation of the book. And also, you in the church ain't the only one that's up here getting this divine chastisement. Not from me, but the Most High and the wisdom that the chairman brought on the manifest. But the Moors and all other groups that think they something getting it too. So don't think this is a Christian bashing party going on up in here. Anyone amongst any of our people that think that they are just part and partial of an organization in a church and they think that they can be governed as that and call themselves a nation, they all out of law. Be they claim they Moors or Muslim, Masons, or whatever they claim, because they steal property. So don't think ones is coming at y'all and take this demonstration personal. We giving the truth that everybody got to hear. Every tongue gonna have to, confess. Every knee will have to bow to this truth. So it says, nevertheless, it is in the nature of exhuming to remove all forms of dirt prior to uplifting the body. And that's what we're doing. We're removing the dirt from your heads since you're sticking them up out of the mole holes. So the biblical prophets, masters of the Vetsa, Torah, the gospel, and the Holy Quran have prophesied there will be only one clean and pure nation. In fact, never was there an age or civilization where the coming of the Moorish Americans were not prophesied. Never was there an era since the fall of man has there not been a prophecy about the coming of this clean and pure nation. We ain't here by chance. We on time and in time, in due time. The only task of the age is how can one get the Moorish Americans to realize that they are the only nation missing from the human family and have much work resting upon them. by being themselves. From the ancient civilization of Lemuria, the land of Mu, and Atlantis, the dominion of the ancient Moabites ranged from northwest and southwest Africa across the great Atlantis continent. Lemuria, the land of Mu, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, also Mexico, and the Atlantis Islands before the great earthquake, which caused the Atlantic Ocean. Moorish Holy Quran 47, ayat 6 through 7. Prophet Noble Drew Ali himself is also prophesied in Revelation chapter 10, the 10th chapter, that one having 1 foot on land and 1 foot in the water, 7th angel. The great Quran of Mecca, Al-Fatiha, Surah 1, ayats 5 through 6, the Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 2, ayat 26, see the appendix. It has never been considered in the best interest of today's rulers for the Moorish tribes to know of their glorious history. With this in mind, and keeping within this book subtitled The Exhuming of a Nation, any people, literature, or their institution that perpetuates Ma'afa of the African people is liable. Present and past histories expose the guilty as rubble through all their psychological and lawful cover-ups, just as layers of ungainly legal debris which still covers the entirety of European domination of Africa and her contributions to the earth. The Moorish American nation is a sovereign, clean, and pure body of people. They lawfully came into existence 1865, but were soon buried on the sovereign, clean, pure body of people. They lawfully came into existence in 1865, but were soon buried under the assumable jurisdictions of 1871, corporate United States. For the next century and a half, they would believe that they were citizens of a non-existing government. This author disclaims any pains or discomforts drawn by those whose hands bear witness against the interment of Harmabith, the ancient Comedian god of Akubalan. Here, the rubble covers of dirty laws and acts and evil deeds will be removed from its constitutional grave. It says, by the grace of the great God and blood of my forefathers, I am a freeborn Moorish American sovereign. The fact I can prove that I am through wisdom and knowledge of history is not nearly as great as knowing there are no European de facto courts existing of color of law which can prove that I am not. To say the least, I am definitely not what they say I am. It ain't what they call you, it's what you answer to. They said that in the 1779 Negro black and colored declared as 3/5 of a person are slave names given to slaves by European Freemasons. Oops, slave masters. Yet, in the history of the English language, the definition of these labels has not changed. Although there are millions of proud black people in the U.S. today, the carnal customs of man do not alter the nature of truth. This within itself is a mantra of freedom and cannot be sung by those in the absence of the knowledge of self. This status of being my own proper person is too great to be told in words, and there's a bliss of peace found in freedom. In the words of a great Moorish American who has also been here and has also gave a testimonial from this mountaintop, that his eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord, and that we as a people will get there to the promised land here in North America. One can only thank the great God Almighty for being free at last. So we're going to stop right there, family. And want to give honors to our Grand National Chairman for this grand droid, and just say praise be to Allah for the Book of Fire, and the Holy Prophet for living, the life that we may have his biography, and the only true biography, be put in the records. So at this time, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and let me see what's going on over here with the family, touching bases with our family. You know, we're going to drop the link in here, you know, just in case somebody would like to come in and chime in. All are welcome, long as ones are respectable. We don't do, you know, we're kicking our people off the panel. Long as ones is respectable, all is well. You can come up in and give your spiel. You know, you can disagree, just disagree respectfully. You know, all is well. So let me see what my family's saying up in here right now. Like I said, we don't want to drag these demonstrations out. It says here, creator of the boundless universe. Want to give honors to you, Islamism to you as well, family. Brother Tony Chiba, honors to you, brother. Yes, sir. Always peace. And our brother say black power. Yeah, all power to the people, my brother. Commission Adept here picking up. Brother say picking up a damn book. Actually studied in the United States Constitution. That's right. Reading the Bill of Rights. That's right, brother. Learning the laws of the land. That's right, brother. Learning the amendments. That's right, brother. Honors to our sister Divine Angel Wisdom. You know, Malika Shamsuddin, baby, we know who you is, sister. Born Dog, we give honors to you as well. Carbon Dog Matter, honors to you as well. That brother say not for brother commission. I'm going to prison for mine. That's right. He said I don't want to go to prison. That's right, brother. That's what it is. You know, a lot of our people, brother Tony, they don't know that they in prison right now. And they walking around out here thinking they free, talking loud, saying nothing, got chains on their brains, you know, and I mean, they might even have the finer things, but they still in prison. You know, honors to our family, also Tyrese L. All is well to you, good brother. You know, that's the whole part of wisdom, being able to listen and accept what it is, yeah, that we are listening to, you know, and apply it to the self. We give honors to you for that. I agree with you. One demonstration is better than 1,000 words. That's why we out here demonstrating right now. Say the Moors had a great influence with the start of the DC blacks within the prison system. Yeah, our chairman was present, you know, in those situations. In fact, he was the one that was going in there raising them brothers up in DC. My chairman taught many of them brothers up there in DC. And it was set up by certain individuals while he was teaching them, you know, and that's how he ended up writing the Book of Fire. You know, but that's a whole nother story. Brothers say silent brotherhood, yeah. Oh, yeah. So yeah, it don't get no plainer than this right here. Oh, I didn't know our brother Bond Dog say he was in this federal bid. He met some in Leavenworth. See what I'm saying? So our family know the truth of what was being demonstrated. You know? Yeah, when it come down to dealing with that Lorden case, you know, we put that measure out there and exposed the lies on the one that was trying to lie on our chairman. Didn't say none of what they were saying. And this was all the people that basically were in that particular case, which a lot of our brothers and sisters ain't familiar with. You know, our chairman gave his own history, but, you know, we got it in the paperwork. Paperwork basically shows that the chairman was set up, and we know who the players were that set him up, you know, for him to did the way he was done. And after he was set up, you know, they actually used that case as a precedent in law so that they can end up treating the Moors any type of way, because before that time, before that case took place, Moors could go in the prison system and they didn't have to be searched, and you know, you couldn't do too much to them, and the security guards didn't like that. But it wasn't the security guards that came up with an investigation, you know, to try to overthrow the Moors. It was actually the ones that was actually doing the dirty work from the inside of the prisons, that was working with some of the Moors that the chairman was bringing in unbeknownst to him. And basically that particular one was cousins with the brother R. Love L, who had conflict with the chairman. R. Love L was original police officer. He was literally law enforcement. We ain't talking about no confidential informant. He was a police. But the chairman was getting ready to bring him up on charges, to have him removed, so to speak, for some of the acts that he was sanctioning and participating in. And this was in D.C. when the chairman came at the brother R. Love L. But the brother pleaded to the chairman, and the chairman let up, basically, from bringing him up, and just told him more to get his act together. Because that's how my chairman is. He the type of brother, man, you can buck, you can talk crazy. I done seen this in action where one go crazy. They be up there, brought up on charges. And the chairman still acknowledged them as a more and deal with it. I done seen him in action, which is one of the same qualities, that I said, would be my adversary, because I'm the same way. I don't hold grudges. So the chairman wasn't holding no grudges. And all the while they was but they was plotting against him. And thanks to some honest brothers that was actually involved in that case, they admitted to me that the chairman didn't have nothing to do with that case, and he didn't even know what was going on, but they did it to him, because he spoke out against the grand body that he was actually a part of. He was a grand governor at that time. You see, so they wanted him out of the way. You see, the Prince of Peace had sent him into that demonstration to Mufti, because he already knew what they was doing. You see, the chairman was part of the same delegation that went into Chicago in the fort when they retrieved the charter from our good brother Chief Malik as well. Which record that I read say that he received it from, Chief Malik had received that charter from R. German Bay. Certain other records say that he had received the charter from Sister Christina Price Bay, and she was out of her mind or whatever when they got it. But nevertheless, I honor the brother Chief Malik, because when the chairman went over there with them delegation of Moors in Chicago, and they went up in the fort, it wasn't no conflict, it wasn't no combat. That one honored that delegation, because it could have easily went left, and the chairman wasn't nothing to play with back then neither. Him and them brothers that were with him, they wasn't nothing to be played with. Just like our brother Chief Malik wasn't nothing to be played with. So nothing good would have come up out of a confrontation in that situation. That's why I honor the brother, because I know under other circumstances, that brother has enforced law, on ones in his own circle when they got out of line. I ain't gonna go all the way into that, but it lets you know that he's a lawful brother. And honest to that good brother as well, for the work that he did for the brothers in his circle, because he only was persecuted when he started trying to push the Moorish paradigm. That's what really made Rome come in opposition to it. But nevertheless, the chairman was sought up. R. Love L. cousin was the culprit. He was the one to claim, the fame, so to speak, because he was the one that was dealing with, the drug and all the camera stuff. He was the one that alerted, the COs what was going on, and he was the one that created the problem. So he created the problem and brought the solution, basically to ensnare our chairman, and unfortunately, that was a part of the will of Allah. He don't hold no hatred toward them for that. He said them still his brothers. Had it not for him being put in that situation, he couldn't have wrote the Book of Fire. So if that ain't, somebody that love instead of hate, go look up and love and hate. So the chairman is on the manifest now. Unfortunately, some of those who have come before him have already transitioned, but he's still here on the manifest teaching his people, and he is strong as ever. He's still here, been here 40 years teaching our people. So yeah, it's a lot came behind that, and it is Saudi L who put the poison out there in the ears of our people, trying to make it seem like it ain't, And I got records on Saudi L over here. I could play them right now out of his own mouth with him talking. And I told him in that conversation we had, I got them right here, records, where I can play them, you know. And that man tell me he was upset with the chairman, and so that's what made him put what he put out here. But in the breath of the same conversation, you know, this brother told me some things so horrible of what he was demonstrating in. He shouldn't even open up his mouth trying to lie on our chairman like that. You know, talking about how he was taking people off the county, you know, talking about, you know, how he was smoking crack cocaine, all types of stuff this man told me. Say he had so much smoke in the room, the cockroaches was getting high. So, you know, it's y'all who have taken that lie and put legs on it and run astray. I just ain't put the recordings out here because he done kind of chimed down, but I said I would if he keep on. I want to give honors to, you know, a good brother too. I won't even mention his name right now, that was in his circle very well, and also, you know, has been out here blasting the brother for, you know, his behaviors. You know what I mean? And everybody that I talk to will tell you that the brother, you know, be trying to run them away from Moorish science when they be trying to come up into the teaching. So, you know, that's a whole nother measure. I ain't here to mudsling. I'm just telling you where the lies came from and how it became rampant in the community and told as if the chairman had been out of law, you know, without telling y'all the whole truth. But I give honors to that brother in Chicago also that told me, you know, that our chairman wasn't part of that. And he said everybody, he named names of the people that was actually in it. You know what I mean? And he said they set my chairman up. So that's all I need to know. Other than that, I ain't need to go back into that. So like the chairman said, it ain't the cause, it's the call. And he said he couldn't come up out of that situation, out of that snare, until he finished writing the book of fire. 777 pages of straight fire. That's what those who stand up and truly be the truth get. They get persecuted. You know? While low key, a lot of them got the book of fire. And they really upset because they say the chairman put the adept teachings out here. You know, the chairman put the adept lessons out here. He wasn't supposed to put that out there. Want to give honors to our family for showing love. Carbon, Dog Matter, honors to your family for the love. Thank you, brother. Let me see here. Our brother Tony Chiba say, yeah, I still have a few men who have came home and still waiting on my man Luck. He was in NC maybe 5 years ago, still had time in MD. Hopefully he make it. Yeah, man, we don't wish that on nobody, man. We don't wish the Disma Crips on our worst enemy. And we know as if you come up in the environment and you wasn't in some type of Hamptons or you wasn't in no Hollywood-like type of place, you know, in the suburbs somewhere, and even if you was in the suburbs, it's a rite of passage for most of our brothers to have at least be in the county jail or maybe a juvenile detention facility at some point of their life or even prison, because it's designed that way. It's designed that way, family. You know, that we become felons. You know, this is all a part of the construct. You see, and this is again what we call civil death, civilitas mortuus. Once you dead in the law, pretty much you dead in the land. People can treat you any type of way. You know, we ain't got to hire you because you're a felon. No matter how good you do, how influential you become. You know what I mean? Because they putting you back in slave status. You're already in slave status already, but up under it where they can actually keep you there. You see what I'm saying? So our family say, what would be our brother Carbon Matter said, Dog Matter said, what would be the best blueprint that schools can use to teach and instruct black students to navigate their lost mind? That's a good question, brother. We already know that they can't do it, brother Carbon Matter, within the realms of Rome education system. You know, now they out here demonstrating this critical race theory. But I would say the greatest route that you can go right now is the one I went with my last and youngest son, homeschooling. You know, homeschooling, you get grants and everything, you know, where you can actually have the materials that will be purchased through those grants in order to get the job done. So I think even right now, it's more necessitated than anything to go in homeschooling, because if you start homeschooling, then you can control what it is that your young learn. And he did well. He graduated. You know what I mean? We kept him going through different programs that he can go out and deal with people and socialize and all of that. But we homeschooled him. So that's what we need to do, because it's actually dangerous. You know, I call school of the European the Middle Passage. That's the real Middle Passage right there. You know, if they can make it through that. You know, so that's what we need to do. We need to learn the proper thing to teach our people, though. You know, because if not, they're going to be going according to them textbooks, especially the new one they're trying to come up with and say, all right, you know, they property, you know, and the only reason y'all came to be enslaved, you know, is because this was basically a God sin. If it wasn't for y'all coming into slavery, you know, y'all wouldn't be as great as y'all are. That's what they want us to believe. We know better. That's a good question, brother. But yeah, that's what we have to do. We got to learn this knowledge, and we got to begin to put it in them, because the youth want it. The youth hungry. They want the truth. They tired of people telling them about Santa Claus and all this other fairy tale type stuff. They want the truth. You can't even pull that over on certain people now. Most people out here celebrating, you know, all that type of stuff in the Roman holiday. They're doing that because that's in their heart. Them children don't care nothing about that. And if you extract it out of them while they're young, then you won't even have to worry about them wanting to accept that, because they won't even know that it was there. But if you keep feeding it to them, you know, then they're going to look at you like they're crazy when they find out the truth, because we're in the information age. And the information will constantly be coming out here. And when they find out you lied to them, you know, they're going to look at you like, man, why my mama didn't tell me this, or why my daddy didn't tell me that? And now you got something on your hands. So yeah, we give honors to all of our family behind enemy lines, those who have spent time in the dismal crypts of Rome. I call it the university, because a lot of time that's what it takes for us to sit down, and sometimes, you know, it saves us from ourselves. I call it going up into the mountain. Whether you want to consider it Mount Jebel or Jubal, or you know, Mount Hira, you know, Mount Nebo, whatever you want to call it, it's definitely the place where you can go, and you ain't got no way that you can run from yourself there. You have to go within the self, especially if you end up in a solitary position. And unbeknownst to a lot of our people, we got some of our people that have been locked in prison while they're in the prison, 30, 40 years in close management in a cell by themselves. You know, we got brothers like Chief Malik, brother Larry Bernard Bay, aka Larry Hoover, all them different people buried literally under the ground. I think they were talking about letting a few of the brothers up above the surface level. And them brothers really ain't demonstrated no violence, so to speak, to be put there. Is because of the influence and the power that they have. Honest to our family, Mari Bontes as well, ancestors' powers. You know, honest to you as well. Oh man, the brother already made his transition to Allah, towards Allah. That's right. That's a good thing. I got a brother that just came home too. I hope he come to the media. I'm pretty sure by now he done look here. One of the brothers that named me, brother Shaheed, my brother Qasim from New York. He finally transitioned, come up out of that demonstration. You know, that was one of my first enlighteners, you know, when it comes to the lessons. Honest to our brother Philip Baines as well. You know, so yeah, mental slavery is the worst form of slavery that our people still suffering from. Yeah, honest to the brother Wayne Perry as well. Yeah, most definitely. Most of the brothers, you know, are out here now pushing the deen family. You know, the young brother Rollo just come home. Other brother they call Goldmouth. All them brothers come, you know, down here also uh touch that light. That's what happened when you go in there. It don't do nothing but bring ones back, you know, into reality of the self. Yes, sir. When I say the chairman, I'm talking about Brother Pleasant Bay, Brother Bond, dog. Yes, sir. We have to stay strong. That's right. Yes, sir. Most definitely. I mean, yeah, we all, yeah, that's right. We all come up out of that environment. Our brother say, what can we give? Our brother Carbon Matter say, what can we give? Let me put this up here. To the students that have no option but to attend the public food system. Would the miseducation of the Negro suffice? Good question, brother. You know, our brother say terrible condition. That's right. Yeah, so it's crazy out here. That's right. Long live the old man. We give honors to him and everything that he's done, everything that he continue to do. Them brothers still look youthful too, man. Yeah, they literally buried him alive on conspiracy. You know, but that's what happened though. You can do that to a people when they are not united. You can do that to a people when they're so divided, you know, in a state of conflict and confusion, when they are looking at themselves as the enemy. That's how the Moors was overthrown. When we know Rome committed the crime by allowing, you know, the poison under the rims of chemical warfare to even reach the shores. Let's be honest, we already know if it was no crime, then the Europeans would lose their mind. Crime pay for them. Because right now, if everybody say, all right, man, we don't care nothing about nothing on the manifest, you know, we just finna start eating off the land, everything we create, and we plant our seeds, and you don't have to go to Roman institutions, you know, and now you ain't worried about having not having, you know, or being a have not, you know, this would bring trauma to them because now they ain't got nobody to police. So don't never let them people tell you that they don't love, you know, the luxury of every generation coming behind another generation, you know, being victims of poverty, you know, and participating in the activity, trying to come up out of that poverty, you know, and falling into the snare. Don't never let them tell you that, family. Don't never let them tell you, you know, that they are totally against drugs flowing. And I ain't talking about all of them because some people sincerely want to do their job. But there are those who know that without crime, they're going to have some conflict. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. I ran into a couple of people I ain't seen in a long time. Yeah, most of our people suffer from mental health issues, good brother. You know, that's the nature of the trauma. We just have been taught to push it in the back of our consciousness, like the chairman was saying. You know what I mean? And that's what's really doing more harm to us than anything, because we don't have an outlet, especially the brothers. And I'm not here to make excuses about us as brothers, but we've been taught to suck it up and keep it moving, family. You know what I mean? And they put our woman out front, our goddess out front, so much so, and gave her so many economic opportunities that have been snatched away from us, to where it will make them even believe that we can do what they can do under this system, when the system was created to make her see it that way if she's not witty enough to see it, and it can make her enemy to the God man. And this is what helps break down the family structure if she's not educated enough to know that, you know, because she'll think, well, you know, I'm doing it, why he can't do what I'm doing? Because it was presented to be that way, to make your man seem as he's weak. While we out here striving, you know, like hell, so to speak, to come up out of the condition that we've been placed in. You see what I'm saying? Doing what we can, you know, suck it up, keep it moving, suck it up, keep moving. Yeah, that's how it happened. We know how it's going down. It is what it is. We built for this. And we done push so much into it. That's why we mostly end up suffering from a lot of ailments and illnesses. You know, it's all made to be that way. It's created to be that way, family. And if you ain't strong enough, it mess with you psychologically. If you ain't strong enough, it'll make you crash out. You know, and do what people say, get rich or die trying. You see what I'm saying? You know, so we want to give honors to the goddesses and the queens that stand by the God man through all it is that they may go through. You know, it's some sisters out there that are putting good content out here, you know, trying to put that love out here. They're trying to demonstrate that all set degree and resurrect that mighty all saw. You know, and teach the young seeds to be heru, you know, and pick up that scimitar in defense of the family. I want to give honors to the goddesses and the queens, you know, for standing on the manifest, you know, keeping them spiritual doors open and covering our brothers. You see? Want to give honors to all of our family out here for the work that we're doing. We're not here to make excuses. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said he came to take away all the excuses. You see? So yeah, family. Honest to you. So I'm gonna drop the link again just in case somebody want to come up here and get a spiel. All is well. Like I said, you can come up here and breathe upon our people. We need to hear from you. You got a voice here. Uplift your people. That's what we're here to do. And for those who are here, be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe. And share this video so that our family can get it. We talking about a peek into mental slavery. We ain't opened the door all the way open yet. This is just a peek into mental slavery. That's the only slavery that we suffer from now. Get them likes up, family, so our people can hear this. We want people on this platform that's about nation building. It's time to build. It's time to heal. We done destroyed enough. It's time to really get about the work of uplifting fallen humanity. All of us have talents. God-given talents, ancestral given talents that we have, family. All we have to do is pool them and bring them together. I keep telling our people, you know, that finances is not the issue. It's a lack of unity. Because he take $1. If you got 1,000,000 of us united with $1, that's $1,000,000 easy. So I keep telling our people, money ain't the issue. Money ain't a thing. The conflict is us coming together and thinking on the same level and staying in our own lane. See, that's the problem. Our people feel like they're too grown to learn. They feel like that they don't want to hear each other out. They feel like that they got to cancel each other out in order to get their point across. That's the problem we're suffering from. And it's causing a chasm and further dividing our people that want to learn the truth because they don't know which way to turn. Some of our people so eloquent in their ignorance, you know, so it's making them have to pick and choose. And half of the ones that they even putting in thought of dealing with a picking and a choosing, them people don't even have no love for them in the first place, family. Real spill. Unfortunately. You know, so this is what we're doing. We really here trying to teach our people. You know, we put information out here all the time. But if we're not here really trying to educate our people, man, and trying to unite them, if we ain't trying to come together, then what we doing? Why even run your mouth? Why even get up here and talk to the people? If you ain't going to use your platform to try to change the condition, you already see what we suffering from. You see what we going through. You see how we being treated. So this is the only reason that we can't come together. Because like I said, everybody want to outwit everybody else. I ain't got no problem listening to somebody else and hearing their thought, You'll never hear me just oppose somebody just for the sake of opposing them or trying to make them a foe, to build myself. No, that ain't how I do. I respond to people when they attack what it is I'm bringing to the manifest, because I'm trying to bridge the gaps. So if you come out here and you try to attack, what it is that we doing, then I'm looking at you like an enemy, of what we trying to build. Because I ain't coming after you. You understand? I ain't even thinking about our people. I don't even know some of these people. How can I hate what I don't know? And even when I know people, it just ain't in me to hate nobody. I just ain't never been the type of brother that like to start stuff with people. That just ain't part of my character. I ain't gonna never let nobody rent no space in my mind. Because when you do that, you wake up with them on your mind like that. It's almost like you making them your God. So we ain't demonstrating like that. We here to bring the truth and nothing but the truth. So help the God, be exerted, within us. We ain't trying to send you off. We ain't trying to tell you to go outside yourself and worship no idols and no idol gods and spookism. We telling you that you the God and the Most High work through you. It say that in the Piscean records. Yehoshua taught it to those who was finna stone him. He told them they was gods. Noble Drew Ali taught us the same thing. Man is one with God through the deific will. You feel me? Until we think from that aspect, we're going to always look at a spook or somebody scaling the clouds coming down here to deliver us when it don't work like that. Salvation, our God, unity. You hear us say this all the time when it comes to the Moorish paradigm. It's because the salvation will come through us, because there's always one or even many that are raised up within our ranks that are a conduit through which the Most High expresses his will. But many a time we oppose them just like those in the past opposed prophets during their time. We oppose our master teachers. Want to find something wrong with what they did. Want to find something wrong with what they're doing. Want to find an excuse to have a problem with their doctrine. Who taught us that? Where did we get that type of behavior from? It's called games of competition. Cancel culture, where you want to cancel yourself out. We ain't got to worry about Rome trying to cancel us or nobody else. Our people have been taught to cancel themselves. Like Malcolm said, who taught you to hate yourself? Ask that question, since you know so much. You see what I'm saying? So, we got to break the cycle, family. We too busy arguing over the blueprint, and we ain't built nothing yet. I'm going to show y'all something. Real quick. We're going to go to, my government website real quick. I'm going to show y'all some important things that we got in here. Let me share my screen real quick. Let's see. Let's go off in here. Okay. So I'm going to show y'all something. Watch this. My bad. I just passed the principles. Here we go. Here we go right there. As you can see it right here up the top, you see it say, I'm going to repeat myself. That's what Prophet Noble Drew Ali said. If you look closely in the picture, you can see when the prophet had just returned from the Pan-American Conference. And he had the two flags in his hand. One being the United States flag, and he had the Moroccan flag. And if you looked at the clear version, he had the Moroccan flag upside down, and the United States flag he had back was showing that they was in adversity to the principles they represented, in opposition to the principles they represented. Both these countries having to do with us. So you see the chairman demonstrating the same vibration. you know, and he's representing us as a nation. You see, signs and symbols of the common mind and men and women understanding. So what I came with is a measure of Prophet Noble Drew Ali when he said, I was Muhammad. And he said, Muhammad defeated the Roman Empire. When I conquered Rome, we went in with the sword, and you can hear the sword swinging. I cut the head of Rome off, pulled down the flags, and sent letters to the other European governments and asked them, was I right? This Prophet Noble Drew Ali saying, when I was Muhammad, because he knows he come in the same spirit of those who came before, right? That will of Dharma. It says, they said, yes, Muhammad, you are right. Just let us have a place to live. And the Holy Prophet said, I went into Rome with 72,000 men. And when I ran out of men, I reached down and picked up a handful of sand and threw it up in the air. And when it came down, there were soldiers seated on camels. And what he was speaking of, is the building of this nation. He was speaking of doing work from the plane of soul. When he ran out of men on the plane of things made manifest that was willing to heed him, he said he could better aid and assist the Moors from the plane of soul. So when he passed form, because we don't look at Noble Drew Ali as dead, he reached down into the consciousness of my Grand National Chairman. And from that, our chairman came forth with a flag inspired by the Prophet. He came forth with a Grand National Seal inspired by the symbols that were brought by the Prophet. He came forth with a divine constitution and bylaws that were inspired by the Prophet. You see, we bring it into a reality. And he said when he threw it up in the air, when it came down, there were soldiers seated on camels. For those who don't know, within our teaching, we show you the Bactrian camel that has two humps. The Bactrian camel is known to be a hump carrying camel that has its sustaining a sustenance within itself. It can go days without water and so forth and so on. It's well saddled and equipped for the journey along the way. And that's why we call, our chairman tribe the tribe of endurance, because they've been on the manifest all these years and they have been opposed by Rome, even to the extent in which we are presently speaking, and they have overcome each of the battles that they had to face. They've seen some of our people take each other off the count physically. They've seen, the ugliest of how a dirty Moor can get. And they still got the love in them to be on the front line teaching their people. And that's why we call them the tribe of endurance. They symbolic to the camel. So when they say they were soldiers seated on the camels, these are the first fruits of those soldiers. And those who are right now on the manifest with them, we also are demonstrating that same endurance. So them 72,000, men is also synonymous to almost like the 70,000 angels that move around the car in the bar, so to speak. In the teachings of Muhammad, they talk about them 70,000 angels that surround the house of the great God. So under this, you see the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, who we believe, because the Prophet, when he went to the Pan American Conference, basically, because we got record of that too, we got the paperwork on that. But when he went to that conference, he represented the Moors as a nation. He didn't represent the Moors as the Moor Science Temple. But the United Nations didn't exist then. But we know that it was the influence of that meeting, that also was influenced by our Holy Prophet in the same spirit of the UN being able to come forth so that nations can have a universal forum by which they are able to pick up other nations into the family of nations. You see? And so that's why we represent ourselves as a nation now. And we went before the UN And we got a favorable reply. We showed it to you the other night. You see? They don't make governments, they just acknowledge them. You see? But there are certain measures in this particular document, family, that are important. Because when you get into the level of dealing with international law, you'll notice it was said, Article 1, all human beings are born free, and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in the spirit of brotherhood. Look at Article 2. Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political, or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, and other status. Furthermore, no distinction shall be made on the basis of the political, jurisdictional, or international status of the country or territory which a person belongs, whether it be independent trust, non-self-governing, or under any other limitation of sovereignty. Article 3. Everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. 4. No one should be held in slavery or servitude. Slavery and the slave trade shall be prohibited in all their forms. Article 5. No one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment or punishment. Article 6. Everyone has a right to recognition everywhere as a person before the law. Article 7. All are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection of the law. All are entitled to equal protection against any discrimination and violation of this declaration and against any incitement to such discrimination. Article 8. Everyone has the right to an effective remedy by the competent national tribunals for acts violating the fundamental rights granted him by the Constitution or by law. Article 9. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest or detention or exile. Article 10. Everyone is entitled in full equality to a fair and public hearing by an independent and impartial tribunal. It says in the determination of his rights and obligations and of any criminal charge against him, right? Listen to what's being said here, right? Article 11, everyone charged with a penal offense, it says, has the right to be presumed innocent until proved guilty, according to the law, in a public trial at which he has had all the guarantees necessary for his defense. You know we've been lacking all of this, family. Being considered somebody else's property. 2, in this article, no one shall be held guilty of any penal offense on account of any act or omission which did not constitute a penal offense under national or international law at the time when it was committed, nor shall a heavier penalty be imposed than the one that was applicable at the time of the penal offense was committed. Article 12. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondence, nor to attacks upon his honor and reputation. Everyone has the right to protection of the law against such interference or attacks. Do you have that as a Negro, black, and colored man? Article 13. Everyone has the right to freedom of movement and residence within the borders of each state. Everyone has the right to leave any country, including his own, and to return to his country. Do you have that right, or when they take that, when they make you a felon, they take that from you, huh? Article 14. Everyone has the right to seek and enjoy in other countries asylum from persecution. This right may not be invoked in the case of prosecution generally arising from the non-political crimes from the acts of the country to the purposes and principles of the United Nations. This is the most important part right here. Article 15. Everyone has the right to a nationality. Now ask yourself, what's your nationality? Negro? You're a black man? You're a colored man? Because there should be a flag that's attached to these national names, if they are national names. But you got a right to a nationality, and no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality, nor denied the right to change his nationality. So if you thought you was black, you got a right to change it to Moorish American right now. What you gonna do about it? Because that's the name that attaches to the land in the prophet's plan. It says, Article 16. 1. Men and women of age without any limitation due to race, nationality, or religion have the right to marry and found a family. You know, up under them code noir and the black code, they say you couldn't even get married. And even under the present day, under the same spirit, they don't honor your marriage. But it's, we got our own marriage laws over here. It says they are entitled to equal rights as to marriage, during marriage, and at its dissolution. You can't even be a family as an NBC. Ask a brother that done been put on child support and watch what he say. They'll tell him quick, you just a donor. You ain't, you ain't got no power here. Marriage shall be entered into only with the free, it said, full consent of the intending spouses. And the family is the natural fundamental group union of society and is entitled to protection by society and the state. So if they have attacked your family structure, then that's a genocidal attempt. When you try to separate the brother and the sister among our people to keep them from reproducing, that's genocide. That's systemic genocide, low key. But we can go on. It says also, Article 17, everyone has the right to own property alone as well as in association with others. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his property. Europeans do what they want to your property. Ain't nobody doing nothing about it, huh? Article 18, everyone has the right to freedom of thought. What you scared of thinking free for then? Conscience and religion. This right includes freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom either alone or in community with others, and in public or private to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. They say similar things in the United States, but you ain't part of their constitution. And nor is the religion that you pushing the religion that they pushing. So it's all right if you believe what they believe, but you already know how they feel about the Muslims and Islamism. So we ain't even got to go there. Article 19. Everyone has a right to freedom of opinion and freedom of expression. That's supposed to be freedom of speech, right? This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas throughout the media, regardless of the frontier. Look at that. You can't even speak in the media now, the truth without being censored and, mistreated or whatever, if you want to call it that. So, I mean, man, you can go in here anywhere where you want to. It even talk about Article 20. Everyone has the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. No one may be compelled to belong to an association. You got a right to be different. Article 21. Everyone has a right to take part in the government of his country, directly or through freely chosen representative. We got a right to be taking part in our government, in the leadership decision that we make. Everyone has a right of equal access to public service in his country. And we know who this country really belongs to, right? The will of the people shall be the basis and the authority of government. This is why they asked us in the Moorish American government, is there a unanimous will among your people to be free? Because the will of the people shall be the basis and the authority of the government. You can build a government, but if you don't have the will of the people, if they don't believe that they want to be free, then the works and the efforts are futile because they content. While you saying that, it's time to break away and build your own, they saying we all right with the way we being treated. I don't know what they talking about. I'm good under Massa. Massa treat me good. When you got people like that, you ain't got the unanimous will of your people. So in other words, they're asking, do everybody want to be free? No, everybody don't want to be free. Some of them loving it until Rome get through what they behind in these present hours, and they gonna let them know. Prophet Noble Drew Ali told him, he said, one day more the European gonna let you down. And we living in that time now. Watch what I said. This will shall be expressed in periodic and genuine elections, which shall be by universal and equal suffrage, and shall be held by secret vote or by equivalent free voting procedures, right? In our case, we building our own. You see? So we can go on, we can go on. But the main measure, family, is that you got a right to demonstrate self-determination. Determine within yourself it's time for you to build a nation. You ain't doing nothing wrong or none of that. You see? So let me see my family right here. Yeah, so yeah, I see our family right here demonstrating. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, brother. Let's fire up the highways and byways of the internet. That's right. That's right. You can't deny your ear. That's right, brother Tony Chief. It don't make what belief system or what doctrine. The truth is the truth. That's right. Brother said, don't get it twisted. When I found Sonetta, I was against his views on Christianity. The more I listen, the more I learn. That's right. Because Brother Sa, he knows. You got to remember, Sa was studying Islam real heavy. But the thing is about Sa, he's seen how bad our people are messed up as a regards to dealing with the doctrine. I help our family see that, because I know what the brother's saying. And he told them, yeah, man, I ain't going against the Most High. I'm going against, the way y'all done basically went and remix what he said is basically what Sa trying to tell him. He just hardcore with the truth that he bring. And many of them can't accept it. You know what I mean? Yeah, you listen to the brother definitely on point. He ain't doing nothing but shaking them up and making them think. But Sa know the truth when he hear it. That's why he always be shouting, the work, that he see me trying to do to reach our people up. He know I ain't indoctrinated. He trying to lay a foundation so they can get it. Low key. But a lot of them got that hatred. Even Sa giving the cosign. You see, that right there ain't enough to stop her from hating Kemisha. But anybody else, they'll take the truth and run with it. But Sa know what time it is. I give honors to that brother. Shouts out to the brother Sonetta, for being on the front line. Because he going to make them think. That's real spill. Brother say, when I learned about the Israelite and the Moors and Ishmael, I just captured my thinking. That's right. That's all it's supposed to do, brother. Just get us to thinking. Because when I be out here teaching, that's what I keep trying to tell them. I'm not trying to convert nobody. I'm just teaching the truth. If one say they want to embrace what it is we demonstrating, that's on them. But other than that, I'm just putting it out here so people can have right information. You know what I mean? So people can't mislead them about Prophet Noble Drew Ali. They can't mislead them about the Moorish American government, and other different things that we out here doing. You know what I mean? And also to bridge the gap. My teaching is more to show the Hebrews what we want with each other. The Christians, what we want with each other. The Muslims, what we want with each other. No matter what it is they deal with. I done studied a lot of that stuff. But I always studied the information to find the unity. I never studied the information to see how to divide our people. And that's the difference between me and a lot of the individuals that present. Some of them get offended because what I say make them think. They already thought they knew, but when I come through bringing what I bring, and Sa come through bringing what he bring, we make them think. You know what I mean? Our brother, creator of the Boundless Universe, said at Commission Arafat, he said, where is it that we should address these issues? It says, and who or how can the violators of our inalienable rights be accounted? Oh, we actually already addressing it. We already went through that process. All that's been done, good brother. When we sent our declaration, a proclamation of status and jurisdiction before the United Nations, they accepted it, brother. They just been waiting on us, our people, to get it together. So it's really on our people, to come together. They done already accepted us, acknowledged us. They just told us to go get our men, women, and children and formulate ourselves a government. And that's what we did. And many of the brothers that's out here now, that's claiming to be Moors that were out here pushing the line before me, they was actually at that particular meeting, but they broke away due to their lack of patience and started trying to, pursue the worldly things, so to speak. They want to pursue, finances and all that right there. So the chairman, the one that kept going, the United Nations already acknowledged us. They said, y'all got everything it takes, everything y'all need to be a nation. They already done gave us the stamp. Problem is getting our people to understand that we here. You see what I'm saying? Our brother said, I had a reproduction of the Holy Quran, Moorish Holy Temple of Science right in front of me. Yeah. They got a couple of them, brother. And the chairman, the one that we have, got all 70 chapters in it. Certain chapters that they don't want to put out there in the public. That's another reason they got mad at the chairman, because they say we put the adept teachings in the chapter. And they didn't want the public knowing that. They want to keep it secret, but we don't keep secrets over here. We keep it sacred. So we put the truth out there. We ain't hide nothing from the people. So, the one they had got 48 chapters in it. But yeah, it's a lot of information out here, family. When it comes to holding them accountable, we got to hold ourselves accountable first and foremost, and get out here to the front line and get in where we fit in. Roll up our sleeves, and get to work. Whatever it is that we feel we need as a people, we can come together. Government is the only thing that we can all unite under, being one umbrella. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, and when the chairman wrote the declaration, of proclamation of status and jurisdiction, he didn't leave nothing out. He put everything in there. So we've already addressed these things, and we still waiting for a favorable reply to move to the next degree of unfoldment. But every nation receives its manumission, so to speak, or its independence at different times. Just like Morocco didn't get there until 1956. The Sudan just not long ago received there, and you got Palestinian state maybe finna get there, or whatever the case may be. But that's just how I go with the process. But nobody can't stop you from being you. So it's really just our people getting out here and stop thinking on the level as an organization, and come together, as one nation. So, and that might be one that's remixed too, brother Tony Chiba, that they done put in there, but normally they have 48. So it don't surprise me, because they got a couple of them like out here, like I said. Some of them probably even got some odd chapters in it, as well. Because some of these brothers, that's what they do. They'll take certain things and mix them together. But yeah, Prophet Noble Drew Ali definitely brought the truth, though. You can believe that. And either one of the Qurans you get, they really deal with the 18 missing years of the life of Yehoshua, which is really when he was in ancient Egypt, or Kemet. Yeah, see, by you saying who that is right there, that already right there makes sense, because I know the brother that's producing things out there, and I know how he get down. So it don't surprise me, that he have that many chapters in there. But the other ones, like the one the Moorish Science Temple had, they only got 48 chapters in it. Yeah, I know who produced that one. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, knowledge is powerful. Everybody got to get their hands on that book of fire, though. The Exhuming of a Nation. That's what's really popping. It's powerful, family. Yeah, we just want to say gratitude for y'all listening in and everything it is y'all brought forth. Like I said, you know, we don't want to be too long on this demonstration. We want to try to cut them short so that people will be able to view it and not feel exhausted, so to speak. But also want to make sure that we can get in the algorithm, because I do know the lengthy measures, have an effect on that right there, because we want our people to get this truth, and so y'all already know we'll definitely be on here again, to come in here and, so to speak, and reach out to our family. But what we want to do really is we want to most definitely encourage our brothers and sisters, man, to stay on the front line, because we living in some trying times right now, and our unity is all we have. Our most sacred weapon is our unity, family. We got to come together. It's time to uplift ourselves and uplift fallen humanity and put the petty differences to the side. We can't build a nation or build a pyramid, so to speak, while we taking bricks out of it. That's falling by climbing. So, yeah, I just want to say gratitude to our family, and y'all already know it's always love. When we bring these measures on the manifest, we just want to encourage our family, to do your part, man. Come forth and uplift fallen humanity, and stand on the front line in defense of your people. If not us, then who? If not us, then who, family? So at this time, I'm going to bring this measure to a close. But y'all already know we're going to come back tomorrow. We'll be back again. And you already know what it is. We're going to get it in as we always do. So that being said, peace, love, and law. We love you. And we'll see you in the next session. Gratitude. Uncle Ajet Sanel, life, health, and prosperity be upon you all.